alchemy. Darling, let your spirit be free. Don't give up, keep on pushing through. Now is the time, it's all up to you. Alchemize your energy, my friend. Let your spirit be free. Don't give up, keep on pushing through. Now is the time, it's all up to you. No matter the storm, but over tragedy. No matter the storm, but over tragedy. No matter the storm, we will always take flight. Keep on pushing through the darkness of night. There's no limit, let's reach for the sky. Shine so bright, from darkness to light.
Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, we giving all praise and honor to Yahuwah, the supreme, intelligent, powerful one of our forefathers, Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, those striving for righteousness' sake. I say unto the family, Shabbat Shalom, Shalom Aleichem. It's definitely an honor and a privilege to be here on with DJ Genesis Detroit. But without further ado, we have a very, very special guest in the building. Without further ado, we have the founder of BTV, Queen B, Teller B in the building. What's up, Teller B?
Peace, peace, shalom to the family. Can you hear me?
We can hear you perfectly well, loud and clear. I'm watching right now live on the internet, and people are watching. So what's the deal, War Machine? How you doing? It's been a while. First of all, I'm very excited, and the reason why I'm very excited because you always interview me. So it's like, oh man, I gotta one day interview Teller. You know what I'm saying? So I'm
Yeah.
very excited. So how are you doing, and how's the family?
I'm doing very well, and the family's good. My daughter's good. She just turned 18 last month. So, we're both doing well. She's a senior
Okay.
in high school, and I'm doing good. It's BTV season, so I'm busy as ever. Got a lot of new ventures that I have going on. As always, I'm always innovating and creating and bringing different things to the culture to try to raise the consciousness and raise the awareness of our people, get us out of the last position in the world.
Absolutely, absolutely. So let's get down to the nitty gritty. Who is Teller B? Give us a brief synopsis of who is Teller B in your beginnings and your affiliation with certain Wu-Tang Clan artists. But first, who is Teller B?
So Taylor B is the truth aligned yield order and righteousness. Black education empowers true vision. So that's Taylor B and Teller BTV. And I'll tell you, back in 2016, um, as you know, uh, well, I actually, I started a little bit before 2016, about 2014, but 2016 was the official set off to BTV. It was the official time where I officially stamped BTV with a logo, a name, gave it an identity, created shows to change the dynamic of how we interact with each other, raise the awareness and the culture of our position in the world, try to show the community the power that we hold, so we can use that power to raise ourselves up and really be a real community, and really take the position in the world that we know that we all should be in. So that's what BTV is. That's what it's always been. It's always been just to raise the vibration, raise your awareness, tell the truth, like let's tell the truth of what's going on in history, tell the truth of what's going on in the news, look under the underlying meanings of what they tell you what's going on, because you got to scratch beneath that surface, because the media is bought and paid for to tell you a certain narrative, and it's bought and paid for to brainwash you a certain way. So that was really, the inception of BTV, was to show you the underlying cause and nature of the things that are going on in all the 11 areas that I cited, of activity. And that's a play off of Neely Fuller's 9 areas of activity. I added two, because I am a master, well, I'm not a master number 11, but I am a 20. So I have two energy. So I added what we're supposed to do. Take history, you take what our ancestors built, and you add on to it. You study it, you will show improve on it, you add on to it you update it. You got to renew your history. Said we got to renew our history every 25 years. Really for us, a day to God is 1,000 years. So every 25 days, that's a renewal of history. So you're supposed to really keep updating yourself and updating what's going on with the current events, and making sure, like where do we stand in this picture? And too many of us aren't worried about where we stand in the picture. And that's where BTV came in, to try to raise that awareness and, connect to the people, whether it was through, podcasts or through music or whatever type of creative medium, because we know we're a creative people. So
Where are you originally from? And also just give us a brief synopsis like of your childhood, like so people can have like a little bird's eye view about who you are today, because a lot of us today are somewhat of a reflection of our past. So tell us your upbringing, a brief synopsis of your upbringing, where you come from.
I come from, basically like the main line, if you will, of Philadelphia. So I don't know if people are familiar with it. I'll base it off of the city of King of Prussia, because it's the most well-known area of the main line outside of Philadelphia. So I'll say I didn't really come from King of Prussia per se itself, but like the outlying suburbs of King of Prussia. I'm a suburb kid. I grew up in the suburbs. My parents were married. They did separate as I was growing up, but they never divorced. And my father passed away when I was 11 years old. Um, and I had an okay childhood, pretty normal for the most part. But then, during some of those years of my childhood, it got rough during my teenage years after my father passed away. You know what I'm saying? And then different things with drugs in the community. You know how drugs got dropped into our neighborhoods. So my family was affected by that. I'll just say that my family was affected by that, and it was rough on me because I had to kind of be on my own. I would say from the time I was probably about 14, like even 13, like the later years of 13 going into 14, I was kind of really on my own in the sense that I was like living with friends and, not in my stable home environment with my family. You know what I'm saying? So kind of jumping around that way and having different experiences. So that's really my childhood growing up, when I got into really like my older teenage years, I moved into the city of Philadelphia, and which is, not far. It's right the suburb outside of where outside of the city, where I grew up at. Moved into the
If
city,
I'm 309,
not
right on the
309. No, not 309, 76.
76, excuse me, 76, 76, yes. Okay,
76,
okay.
76.
That's
So
right
yeah,
around the
so
corner.
yeah, so I had, I had a little rough, but I loved it. I appreciate everything that I went through because it built my character, it built me into who I am now. Even growing up where I did in a predominantly like white area, I think it prepared me for just really the world in itself. I think there's a lot of different ways that it could be viewed, and I always like to look at it from my lens as that world growing up in school, you know, with the predominantly white society made me see certain things, a certain, certain microaggressions that a lot of us that grew up in the hood that's only around our own people don't see that. So kind of sometimes when they get out into the world, they're not really prepared for those things. That's why a lot of them and a lot of us don't survive in the corporate world because they that's a whole nother beast. You know what I'm saying? Being in the corporate world. And that's why it's hard for a lot of us to get jobs in the corporate world, keep jobs in the corporate world, and rise to the top of the ladders in the corporate world. And I would say that more so for our men than our women. You know what I'm saying? The women do have more opportunities through different educational things, but the men, they just been pretty much shut out. You know what I'm saying? Of that type of lifestyle. And I think, like I said, growing up in that atmosphere kind of prepares you for that because you know how to deal. You know how to deal with them. You know how to you know when they're being a certain way and all that. You see all of it. You're up close and personal with it. And then just looking back on some things, you see it, you be like, man, that was microaggression racism, you know what I mean? And it's all around us. It's in every institution, it's in every law, it's in every city, it's in every town. So this is why we did that. This is why we come with BTV. You know what I'm saying? Because black education got to elevate, it got to empower our true vision of who we are. You know what I'm saying? And raise us back to the cream of the crop because that's really what we are. We're the cream of the planet Earth. You know what I'm saying? So, without us, the Earth don't go round. We know that, and that's really basically what it is. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. And I totally agree with you about when you talk about the advantages of being in a suburban area on the outskirts of Philadelphia. Even though I'm from Philly, I'm from the Hunting Park section of North Philadelphia. But for a while in my childhood, I lived in Montgomery County and I lived in the area called North Hills. So I
Hmm.
know that there's certain advantages. And I used to run the streets. I know you heard of these names like Pembroke, Crestmount, Willow Grove, areas like that.
Hmm.
So I ran all up and down them streets. But there is something that I have to commend you, and I'm very proud of you when it pertains to your daughter, my goddaughter. You know what I'm saying? I've been watching over the years her growth and development, and I wanted to nationally say to her, congratulations, keep up the great work, because I've been seeing her do a lot of community activism work, and coming from Tel Aviv, you can't expect anything else. Could you give us a brief synopsis of how the little queen bee or the princess bee got involved in community activism within her young junior high school years and even her high school years?
Yeah, so like we know our community has so many things that we're affected by, right? So
Yes.
gun violence is a big factor in our community. A lot of us are affected by it. Our families, some people that are in our families have been affected by it. So that's really the start of it, and I have to really commend Movita Johnson Harrell. She was the first Black Muslim Congresswoman in the state of Pennsylvania. I gotta commend her and the Charles Foundation, um, because, you know, through her is how I got Milana really into doing activism, and being a part of the movement with help to stop end gun violence in the streets of Philadelphia and really nationwide. They were part of the March of Guns activist group, and she was the chapter leader and the president and was speaking for the group. So I was super proud. I was gleaming for that. But I really give it up to Movita because she lost both of her sons to gun violence. May Chuck and Tay both rest in peace, my brothers. Long live both of them. You know what I'm saying? And actually, Chuck shares a birthday with Milana, so there's a real special bond there too. So once we seen Movita really down in the street and like hands on, she's hands on, boots on the ground. She's the activist. I'm there helping. I'm there with BTV interviewing people and bringing Milan along and letting her soak up this type of atmosphere. So I'm grateful for people like her. She's a mentor to me. She's been on my show. Have interview with her on there. Phenomenal woman. Has books out. She's just a phenomenal woman. Been through so much, but just so inspiring and has really transformed herself, transformed her story into something that's really helping the community. She's getting kids off the street. She has a program where kids can come work and to help clean the street up, and she pays them every Saturday. She has different leadership programs for them where they go and they take classes and they have different leaders come in and teach them different things. So really, that's how she got involved with it. So it's unfortunate that it had to be through, a negative thing that goes on in our community. But those are the types of things that present opportunities for us and for people like us in the community to raise that awareness. So yeah, I'm super proud of her. Um, and I'm super proud of Movita.
Absolutely. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. So I am going to, I see that you got up there, and which I already know behind the scenes, astronumerologist, and we're going to definitely get into that. And I do want you to tie in your understanding of astronumerology with the sign of the times right now. We're going to get in a brief discussion about what's going on with Kamala Diva Harris, along with Donald Trump. We're going to talk about P. Diddy and some other things. But before we get into that, um, you're like the queen bee of promoting, whether you talking about Wu Wear, just Wu Tang. Like, oh man, tell us your beginnings of when you very first heard a song from Wu Tang Clan and the impact that it had in your life, which developed, you know, Celebi. We want to hear that.
Wow, that's a real powerful question. And now you want me to really dig deep into that astronumerology history and do some math in my head to date back to the first time that I heard Wu Tang and it had an impact on me. So, obviously we know Wu Tang, was at the height in the rise coming out in like about 93. So I will say that is the first time that I heard them. The first song that I heard from them was the METHOD Man song. Instantly fell in love with that song, obviously for obvious reasons. And but I will say that that is not the first time. It wasn't for me, that song or even that first album. That was the first
Mm.
time for me that made me have, I guess, the type of resonance with Wu Tang that I have. Um, it was the second album, Wu Tang Forever, um, which was the album that was very heavily, influenced with the Nation of the Gods and the Earths. So at that time, I was going through a very tumultuous time in my life, in 1997, around the time when that album came out. And it literally, like, I was literally wild and out. Like, when I tell you wild and out, like straight 85, like straight 100 in the streets, like
Right,
partying. You know what
right.
I'm saying? I was partying. I was partying. You know what I'm saying? So, it was kind of like a pivotal time in my life. I've always had like an inner knowing of things and always wanted to connect deeper with things. And then when that album came out, man, it was just so like influential and like so creative, and just the sound was different. And we were waiting for so long for it to come back, because they had the solo stuff in between. And I love all
Absolutely.
the solo members individually, but to me, it's like the group together. Nothing beats that. Like Wu Tang rocks
That's
the
a
world. Everybody knows it. Wu Tang's for the children. So when they come together as that nine, which is very much representative in the numeric world. Because all of our calculations are based on the number from 1 to 9. That's what all our basic calculations are made on. So when you correlate a lot of that type of metaphysical science to Wu Tang, I haven't done like a full breakdown on them with the group with the numbers yet, but I do plan on doing that. But even without doing that, there's so many on the surface level that you can see, like it's 9 members, 9 planets. So just different things, you know what I'm saying? So, man, it really impacted me and it really made me fall in love with them. Like I was a super fan. I was, I love them. I love them. I still love them. I think they are, the best hip hop group ever. I think they will always be the best hip hop group ever. I don't think there will be ever one that will top anything that they did. They revolutionized the sound. They revolutionized the business. They revolutionized the fashion. All of it, the slang. Um, it's a whole lifestyle. Wu Tang. It's a whole lifestyle. It's not just music. It's not just that. So it's to me that's what that album. That's how powerful that album is. And I bet you other people can resonate with that because I bet you that album saved a lot of people's lives, not just mine. So I always commend Wu Tang for that and for like how they becoming like the rawest, the realest. So you know that's really like when it made an impact on me. And I'm gonna stop there because I know you want to follow up with some questions, so I'll let you do some follow up, and then we can get
Yeah,
into further into that story if you want to.
yeah, I definitely have to agree with you. The very first, I mean, I remember when RZA was Prince Raheem. I remember all that. We love you,
Hmm.
Raheem, and it just it came out with the genius. He had
The
his soul
GZA was the
album.
first one of them that had made it out anyway. He was the first one out, back in, like, 91 or
Yeah,
89, 90, 91, and he was the first one that made it big in the industry with an actual deal.
that's
So
a
their
fact.
story goes deep, but people should check it out. I like to always continue to uplift them too, and try to show them to the younger generation, that's out there
Absolutely.
because hell, they need like RZA said, they return like Jesus when the whole world need us, and the whole world need them right now. And they're on their thing now. They have their Wu Tang residency, so they are very still much prevalent. Wu Tang forever, and I would like the younger generation go back and listen to them albums and get some knowledge.
Absolutely. Before we get before we get into Killer Priest and Hellraiser, did you watch the mini series Wu Tang American Saga? Did you get to watch that?
Of course, I watched it. Yes.
Yeah, yeah, I watched the whole joint. What you think about it?
Um, you know, I liked it. I think people need to understand that, this is still the entertainment industry. I think people get so protective of Wu-Tang because it's so real and authentic that they want only the real, raw, authentic stuff. But people got to realize we kind of live in a different day and age now. You may not be able to tell the stories raw. And when you're telling stories on networks and stuff like that, you gotta it stuff has to be changed. It's not going to be the exact same thing. So I thought it was creative. Obviously RZA is like the mastermind behind it. RZA's my favorite member. I thought it was creative. I thought it was imaginative. Especially a few episodes. I really liked it. I like the actors. I know people had certain problems with certain things with it, but I thought it was fun, and I thought it was a way to bridge Wu-Tang into this newer generation. I think it was a great way to get the attention of the younger generation in the way that RZA presented it. And I think it did that. I think that was the case for it, and that's why they did it. And I think they succeeded with that. I because a lot more people know about them now that's in the younger generation. Even my daughter already been knew about them, but people, like her friends and stuff even know of it now, when before they did that show, so that kind of bridged them and brought them into the new era, them renewing their history, with the new generation and getting their face back out there and just, continuing to strive and work through their legacy and do the things that they still want to do while they're still here to create that legacy.
Absolutely, and I totally agree. I know over here in Africa, Wu Tang Clan is known all over Africa. And when I was over in Israel, I had to perform over in Dimona. Like Wu Tang is like big over there in Israel, all over in the UK, even as far as Japan. They definitely big over in Japan.
Right.
So now let's get to your beginnings with Hellraiser. You know what I mean? Shout out to Heaven Raiser, aka Hellraiser. He was just on the show, on this show last week. It was a very powerful show. Give us your love for Hellraiser, because I remember the last time you was with Hellraiser, You was actually there in New York City where he had his opening Risen. Give us a brief synopsis with your relationship with Hellraiser. We know that he was a member and still is an active member in the group Sons of Man. I think that was 60 Second Assassin, Killer Priest, Hellraiser, and it's
Prodigal
another
son.
brother, Prodigal Son. Um, Give us a brief synopsis of your relationship with Hellraiser and even bringing Killer Priest as well.
So yeah, so Reza, first of all, much love to Reza. His birthday just passed on October 1st. So make sure y'all still give him birthday, born day salutes. You know, just so grateful for him and for his energy and the light that he brings to this world, yo. Like, just a stand-up person. Um, just I can't say enough about him. Hard worker, just knowledgeable, full of
Oh
jewels, full of
my
wisdom,
God.
full
The
of
hardest
life
work on the planet.
on the planet, full of life. Just spirit can't be broken, eternally positive, even when all the odds are against him. He's a true inspiration for all of us. Love him to life. And then I'll tell you, so the beginnings with Reza really started back in 2014. And in 2014, my sister passed away. So I was, in a depressed phase. I was depressed. I was going through some stuff, and I was like, I needed to get myself out of that. I'm like, I'm like that too. I can be depressed because all of us are human. We all go through feelings and emotions and cycles. But I've never been one to live in that kind of atmosphere and live in that place in my mind where I want to keep being that way. So this is where I start to create. Like when I get like that, that's when I get creative, and that's when I start to be forceful with my creations and just say, instead of sitting there analyzing them, I just say, I don't care. I'm putting them out there. I'm create this and I'm putting it out there. I don't care what nobody thinks. So in 2014, I started the group, the Wu Tang Swarm group on Facebook. Now, this was back in 2014 when we know it was, a different. It was a different time even from now till then. But this was a time when Facebook groups was popping. Then, like they was popping. Like when I tell you Facebook groups was popping, it was like roasts going on in there, like different things going on. People, having I was having battles in the group,
No,
versus battles and all. I was doing all types of stuff. You know what I mean? We was doing all types of stuff in these groups. So I opened a group and I just was like, I just threw myself into it because I'd rather throw myself into that than sit there and be, just sad and depressed and crying and drinking and doing whatever to try to drown my grief. You know what I'm saying? So I just threw it into the music, into like my love of Wu Tang and kind of re-sparking that flame for me. And I think that year they had came out with that album. They hadn't had an album out in a while. They came out with that album A Better Tomorrow. The one
yeah,
that
better tomorrow.
RZA, yeah, the one that RZA and Ray was kind of arguing a little bit about the beats and all that over. Um so they came out with that album that year. So I was like, man, we just going, they're out with an album. I'm gonna open a group and we just gonna rock out. Like whoever joins it, we gonna have some fun in here, you know what I'm saying, and talk some hip hop and just rock out, So I did that. I opened a group and I was just doing my thing. I wasn't doing anything specific for anybody. I was just doing what I love to do. I was sharing music. I was sharing when if they had like a show coming up or an interview, I was sharing like clips from the interviews and different things like that. You know what I'm saying? So through me doing that, I guess Hellraiser, he's always working. That man always got something going on. So I guess he saw me out there and was like literally, he's like, "Who are you?" He was like, "Who are you?" And I was like, "I'm Taylor B." And I was like, I know who you are, like, you know what I'm saying? So like, and that's really how we met, that's how I kind of met with Reza and got involved with him. And he just was like, yo, he was like, you're dope. Like, I love what you do. Like I love what you're doing. Like I want you to come over here and be a part of GGO. I want you to be, head of the media communications or whatever, we were calling it at the time. It's going through very different names throughout the years. You know what I'm saying? But basically come over here and work with me and get down with me and do that. So that's what I did. And that was back in 2014. And we're in 2024 now, right? So that's 10 years, that's 10 years ago that I embarked on that journey with Reza, and I haven't looked back. And obviously we're still vibing. He was just on my show earlier this year in February, and just like how you said he was powerful in yours, mine was very powerful too. So I know it was powerful, especially with you and your brain on there. So I'm gonna definitely have to check that out, you and Reza on there.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's basically how I got down with him.
Yeah, I organized it, but I had something to do, so I couldn't make it. But DJ Genesis Detroit and her whole team, they did a powerful interview with him. The sisters, they held it down, and I'm glad you on here, being a woman of Zion, a goddess in our community, because you'll have, a lot of women do interviews, but they don't really be dropping the science. And you one that always drop the science. And also, I want to give a shout out to Killer Priest and himself, Hellraiser, and yourself inspired me to come out with my first album, My Mental Is Never Destroyed. And then from there, I just kept going on and on. Now, working on my fourth album, Dirty Rotten Scoundrels. But now, we getting into the meat of the interview, the meat. P. Diddy, all right? We see what's going on right now in the media. We see it. You know,
Mhm.
I don't want nobody to take me like I'm defending this man, because I'm not. Whatever role that he played in his down spiraling state, he has to deal with that. But I look at Puff Daddy as a puppet on a string, being moved by an unseen puppet master. And I feel as though in the foundational Black American community, we have a tendency of pointing the finger at the effect, and we never deal with the cause. So, with your mathematical understanding and your experience and your spiritual elevation, give us a synopsis of P. Diddy and the future that's going to be made manifest as this down spiral and situation throughout the media develops to the world masses at hand. Give us your viewpoint and even the conspiracy behind the subject matter, if you don't mind.
So let me start by saying that I agree with you. I agree with you. And I'm not here to ever kick any black person while they're down. Um,
That's a fact.
and furthermore, a lot of the things that you know, I don't know if he did those things. He's a grown man. We're all grown people. We can do things that we want to do behind our own closed doors, and no one should be judging anybody for what they do behind their closed doors, because nobody wants to be judged for what they're doing behind their closed door. But I say that to say now, obviously, you know, um, taking advantage of people and doing things to people who don't want that done to them, that's a whole different subject now. So,
Exactly.
obviously, none of us were in those rooms. None of us were at those parties. None of us were there. We don't know what type of mutual consent may be have happened. We don't know what type of mutual consent may not have happened. So I'm not in the business to be judging what's going on. But one thing I do know is that the numbers don't lie. And according to P Diddy's numerology, he's going through a stress period right now. And a lot of the numbers and the numerology surrounding the cases, surrounding the dates that different things came out with the case, it's aligning with his opposition numbers. It's aligning with all of that. He's a four person. He's a Scorpio. His birthday is November 4th. So he's a water sign with an air number. Next year, he's going into a six personal year. That's a stress year for him. Next year will be in a nine universal year. So he'll be in that's not really a favorable combination because nine is the number of endings, transformations, cycles ending. It's the number of fire, it's the number of war, it's the number of explosions, accidents and injuries. So, I mean, and it's also the number of dreams fulfilled. So there are positive attributes of it, but that based on what he's going through and based on him going into a sixth personal cycle next year, and the sixth personal energy deals with love, home, family, business, duty to community, to responsibility. Um, and it's not going to it's not going to come out favorable for him. I also feel like there could be some conspiracy theoryism behind a lot of what he's going through. I won't deny that part of it, because I often think that and see, this is the problem with the celebrities. So the celebrities get where they get to, and the community, we help to get them there. We elevate them, we buy their products, we go to their concerts. We make them pretty much who they are. We're the ones that give them the adoration that makes them who they are. They get there, and I guess it's some type of secret deal that goes on when you get there and you get to a certain money number. I feel like there's some type of deal that goes on that says, look, this is where you are, this is what you can do, and this is what you can't do. I feel like that conversation happens. And I feel like it happens because if it don't happen, then you mean to tell me all of these black celebrities that have all this money and have all this, resources, they haven't done nothing to get together to try to have no type of solutions for us over all of these years that they've been elevated to these positions with these monies and power, and not just the celebrities, even some of these political people that are in the Democratic Party, I'll say, because let's face it, the black Americans, they want to vote for the Democrats. That's what they do. They don't even know who the people are. They don't know what the policies are. They're just doing it because that's what they think they're supposed to do. You know what I'm saying? And they're used to doing it. So I say that to say, like, yeah, I feel like there's some conspiracy theory behind it because I seen some interviews with Puffy where he was talking about he was coming out with a new black political party, um, to fight and lobby for our interests for the Black American community. Now he came out and publicly stated that he did this in an interview with Charlemagne, and I think from him saying that and saying he was working with these people and that people, and he's funding it and he's putting the money behind it. Then people heard him saying that and was like, "Is he serious?" Thinking that he can get away with this. And then not too shortly after that, he did another interview on Breakfast Club talking about it a little more. And then not too shortly after that, that's when he got into the trouble with the liquor company people, that Diego Liquor Company, where he wanted to sue them because he felt like that their business practices were racist toward him with the Ciroc deal, or not the Ciroc. They were building a new tequila, and he was saying that they weren't promoting him the right way. They were promoting him only to like inner city, whatever. They wanted, Puffy's an international mogul. He wants to be promoted worldwide and internationally. He don't want to just be promoted to inner city. So I guess that was the basis of that lawsuit. And then after that lawsuit, that's when Cassie filed her lawsuit, and that's when all the lawsuits started dropping after that. So you tell me how and why. You know what I'm saying? So although those things, several things can be true at one time. You know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna tell you, cycles in our numbers don't lie. So he's going through stress cycle. He's meant to go through this. He's meant to go through this stress cycle. Now, how much of it he brought on himself, that's his karma. You know what I'm saying? But I won't say that there aren't other forces at play here, because I do believe that there are people trying to take him down. So his to freeze his accounts, to freeze and seize his power, and to demote him in the same way that they did with R. Kelly, that they tried to do and trying to do with Bill Cosby, and that they're doing with that they did with Prince, and that they did with Michael Jackson. They ended up killing them brothers. They end up killing them, bro. Because don't tell me that Michael Jackson was doing all that to overdose when he was trying to work to rehabilitate his image and come back and go on tour after all of the lawsuits that he had to go through because they didn't want him to have those masters that he owns.
Mm.
So every time we get a little bit of power and we get a little haughty, they put us in our place. And I feel like this is no different with what's going on with P. Diddy.
Absolutely. There's definitely an international lynching, of the black man in the scope of the world, but in the image of P. Diddy. And again, I'm not justifying any actions of P. Diddy for all the families that have been traumatized and have been real victims of this situation. We here from Darkness into Light, or Darkness to Light, here on DJ Genesis Detroit Show, we send our condolences. But also at the same time, we also see the puppet master. And as I was saying earlier, most of the time, we as a lost people always had that tendency to attack ourselves. Like you always hear the saying, let's say, for instance, if you got in trouble in school, the first thing that'll come out of our mouth, what you do, it's never it's never in our mind that it could have been the opposite that did something to that person. We have
Right.
this tendency self-blaming. And my thing is, yes, Puff Daddy, what, or P. Diddy, whatever name you want to call himself, Brother Love, all these different metamorphoses that he manifested. I'm not saying that he's not guilty of certain things. Like you said, his karma is make becoming made manifest. The problem that I have with our people in the world at large is we never try to get to the cause. Because if you're talking about this man was manifesting sex trafficking on an international level, you're talking about different drugs, guns with serial numbers scratched off, and supposedly, with his power, he created an international crime organization or syndicate. He's being charged under RICO. And when you dealing in RICO, that means there's more than one person involved. And what we're seeing inside these lawsuits, and even those that are being charged criminally, the only one we see him being charged criminally is P. Diddy. We don't see nobody else being charged. Yes, you'll see in the lawsuit there say P. Diddy or Sean Puffy Combs and others. Well, who are these others that you're talking about? I've never in my life seen a RICO case, even if you're talking about the Costa Nostra or any people that are being involved in RICO. There's more than one person being charged in RICO. Another thing that I found very suspicious is when you have Homeland Security, raided his house in Florida. Now, this is Homeland Security now. And my conspiracy theory is that there were higher ups more powerful than P. Diddy, whose images was on these videos, okay? These freak offs or whatever tape that P. Diddy had over these higher executives or whoever was involved. I feel as though they sent them in there to get the evidence and to wipe them from out of that evidence. And whatever was left, they left it there to indict PD. What do you think about that? Do you think that there's any truth in what I'm saying as it pertains to higher officials that were involved in these said freak offs and maybe their images was on these videos and they had the power to send, some higher police force, so to say, such as Homeland Security, to go up in there, get them tapes, wipe the information off whoever was involved in that to get they image out the way. What do you think about that?
Yeah, definitely. I definitely think that they have something to do with that part of it. Especially too, and I don't know how much of it the officials were able to wipe away. As you can see, a lot of the CEOs and different officers from a lot of the different various music industry heads of departments has stepped down not too recently. So I
Man,
don't know how much of it they actually got rid of. I mean, probably maybe the major people. But I think a lot of the other people didn't get away as easily as they thought they would. And I think, a lot of people are going to end up going down with him. We just don't know who they are yet. They're probably some of those people that already stepped down from some of those prominent positions. And I do think, they did that. And I even saw an interview where Clive Davis, I guess, is trying to act like he doesn't even know who Diddy is now. When
yeah, he
obviously yeah,
like he got dementia. I seen that.
yeah.
Yes, yes. And with and
So
also and keep it in context right now, I'm seeing now they drawing in Jay-Z and Beyonce. They're drawing them in, him in. They're also now doing this documentary. Well, it's about to come out on Chris Brown. I've never seen the assault, the social media assault on the black male image as we're seeing today. And you got in rock and roll, like people in that's in different genres of music been involved in these type of behaviors for years, for years. You know what I mean? Even when you talk about the organization of Hollywood itself, in the beginnings of Hollywood and what they was involved in, but it was never displayed the way that we're seeing it today. And it seems like whether if you're talking about, you know, this negative image, whether you're talking about Pac, Mike Tyson, Bill Cosby, R. Kelly, Cuba Gooding Jr., the list goes on and on and on. It's as if they're reminding us of that same Jim Crow, black code description of a black man in the image of a gorilla ravaging white America, the social fabric of America in the image of a white woman. And again, I'm not justifying if there was any wickedness that these men did and women did, then they are to be held accountable. But I've noticed that they always use us as that poster image of destruction, so to say. What do you say about that? And where do you see? Do you feel as though that Jay Z is going to also be one that's going to take a fall in this situation as well?
so again, yes, I agree. And what it points to, Mighty Hebrew, is it's the same old story from centuries and centuries of war, of conflict between um, the people of this world, us, the original people, and then those grafted people. So it's the ongoing same narrative. Um, the black man must be destroyed in America. Destroying the black man in America destroys the black seed, and that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to weed out the original bloodline and make a watered down version that can be controlled and manipulated, because we know most of us and most of the black men that are strong black alpha men cannot be controlled, cannot be manipulated by them. But
Mm.
some of the weaker ones have been, and really the assault that they've done on our nation is high crime on humanity. When you look over the years, and we can say the 500 years. You can go back before that. Obviously, it goes back before that. But we can even just look at the last 500 years of the different torture and policy and different laws that they created to kill us. Different centuries of the whole century. This is what's being done to the black person, man or a woman, but always worse to the man. Always worse to the man. And just like Dr. Francis Cress Welsing teaches us, it's all about the melanin. It's about the original bloodline, and they know it. And I'm just going to take this a little step further right now, real quick, if you don't mind.
Take your time.
Why it's the worst for us? Because let's get real. When we look around from an objective point of view, we are the worst. We are the last hired, the first fired. We are the last in line. We are the last to get everything. We are on the bottom. The foot is on our neck. Let's just keep it real. They didn't put our people in the ghettos, left us there to die, didn't allow us to own anything in those ghettos and those communities. Whereas back when we had our different Black Wall Streets or different Black communities, they seen the power in it, and they destroyed it, just like they destroyed all the other Black towns. Look at Lake Lanier and how that lake keeps killing everybody that goes in it. That's our ancestors doing that. This is a spiritual war, and it's been going on for centuries. And to think that we're in 2024 and to think that we're on some type of equal footing with this force, with this evil force, is foolish.
Mm.
Our people are foolish to think that they're equal. Our people are foolish to think that they are going to be allowed to get anything that they don't want us to have. That's why we ain't getting them reparations. And I hate to say that, but we're not. They're not going to do it.
Mm.
They know what they've done, and they know who they've done it to. We're the only
Mm.
ones that are running around here that don't know who we are and are tied to this landmass.
Mm.
This ain't no disrespect to no landmass, because we are all the original people on all the land masses.
That's
People
right.
got to start understanding how things work and understand that we have a tie to this land. And that's why they keep putting why you think we kept getting reclassified and reclassified and reclassified until the story's so mixed up, don't nobody know who anybody is, and now everybody's mixing with everybody else, so the seed ain't even original no more. And it's not about being, racist or anything like that. It's just that what the truth is. You mean to tell
That's a
me
fact.
less than 50 years ago a black man would have got lynched for even looking at a white woman? And now they're promoting it on TV to have you don't even see black couples on TV. It's always
Mm.
a black and a white together, or it's us with somebody with a gay couple. It's
Mm.
either a gay couple with a black or a black with a white. It's never two blacks together on no TV shows, no commercials, no movies. Find me one that ain't black made, that they're promoting it. And then you see it. If you take a look, you're gonna see it in every show, because they're trying to water down and filter out that bloodline. They don't even want to hear us talking about no reparations. They trying to get that spirit out of us. They know once they get the original bloodline filtered out, that spirit's going to be gone. It's already leaving some of it. It's like we're trying to fight for one last push right now in this era, and this is the era to do it. This is the era to do it. It's the last chance because they keep extending their deadline, and we
Mm-hmm.
give them the damn papers. We sign the papers for the extension with the dumb shit
Mm-hmm.
that we do. We only
Mm.
worried about celebrities. We only worried about what they're doing, gossiping, partying, bullshitting. We ain't teaching our kids nothing. The kids don't know shit. They don't know
That's a
nothing
fact.
about history. They don't know nothing about what we done been through. They don't even care to know. You know what I'm saying? So that's on us as a community. That's on us as a community at the end of the day. And this is why BTV came about because I'm sick of seeing it. I'm sick of it happening, and we need to wake the hell up because you can see it right
Absolutely.
before you. You see it with all of our celebrities, and I'll just go back to that. Being a celebrity, that ain't it. So I want people to stop trying to say, oh, I'm gonna be a rapper or I'm gonna be a ball player. Like you that ain't it. We need doctors, we need lawyers, we need engineers, we need plumbers, we need carpenters, we need builders, we need businessmen, we need all of that stuff so we can build our own institutions. You know what I'm saying? So I'm saying all that to say, like, it gotta stop somewhere. It gotta stop somewhere. But I'm the more I look around at our people right now in this day and age, I see it getting worse. I don't see it getting
Absolutely.
better. I don't see it getting
Absolutely.
better. The music is worse. Hip hop is in some type of, hip female era, which I love. I want females to be empowered in hip hop. I have an album in hip hop. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want us to be empowered, but I don't want us to be empowered just because we shaking our ass and selling
Facts.
pussy on the record. I'm sorry, excuse my
Mm-hmm.
language, but this is what they're doing. And then they wonder why they get mad when a man treats them like that. Well, that's what you've presented to him. And now you're the mouthpiece for our whole community because that's how they look at us anyway. The whole world, they just
Mm.
look at us through the entertainment industry. So whatever these entertainers are doing, this is what they equate the community to. This
That's
is
definitely
why,
that.
yeah,
That's a fact. Tell it because
this
over
is why
here,
all the
and
black, this is why the black women, like a lot of us, we ain't all ratchet. All black women ain't ratchet. All black men ain't gay. Like, but the way we portray, you would think that.
mm,
You would think that. And
mm,
wait, and then later, and then if you look back at it, it's very sick, Mighty Hebrew. I'm just gonna say, like, if you look back at some of the documentaries and stuff, any documentary that like we just watched that Vince McMahon one on Netflix. And when you see the way that the media be just force feeding this stuff on people, like these people, this country is brainwashed, man. They brainwashed, and it's all brainwashed to be against us. People don't even know why they hate Black Americans. They don't even know why they hate us. What you hate us for? We invented everything that lets you live easily and free right now. We
mm.
invented 99% of the inventions in this world that make it
That's a
easy
fact.
and free. Like, what you hate us for? And we never got paid for it. We never got, all we got was slavery and Jim Crowism and lynched and killed and subjugated and genocided and done experiments on and all of that. Hold on one second. I'll be right back. Give me 1 second.
Absolutely. We are live and direct on DJ Genesis, Detroit show. You know what I mean? Alchemy from darkness to light. We got the famous Queen Bee Teller B with us, and it's definitely an honor and a privilege. And I totally agree with her. You know what I'm saying? When we look at what's going on right now, we see a dumbing down of music. Because when I was coming up, I grew up listening to King Son, Poor Righteous Teachers, KRS-One, Wu-Tang Clan, Nas, the list goes on and on. Even when we talk about female artists, we have Moni Love, Queen Latifah, Isis, also known as Lynn Q, Digital Planets. Bahamadia. We had some of the dopest, lyricists, from the late 80s and 90s. And now everything is dumbed down. And speaking of, us creating inventions and things like that, let's talk briefly about what's going on right now with this 50-50 that Fat Joe have imposed to the world when it pertains to hip hop. Now, I'm under the impression that hip hop was created by foundational Black Americans roughly around 1971 ish, somewhere around there. But right now, there has been this uproar within the Hispanic community that, and even the Jamaican community for the most part, that hip hop was really a Jamaican thing, a West Indian thing, and then it came to United States, even though we don't see no evidence of that. Um, Tariq Nasheed created a documentary that just came back out called Microphone Check. And inside this documentary, we see the founding fathers and mothers of hip hop actually being foundational Black Americans, FBA. What is your take on the origin of hip hop and this statement that Fat Joe said that 50-50, Busta Rhymes saying basically Black Americans have no culture and everything was taken from them. We also see Pete Rock and Evil D making hilarious comments or hilarious similar comments. What is your intake and your perspective of the origin of hip hop?
Well, first of all, hip hop is 100% a foundational Black American invention. When you look at all of the key elements of hip hop, all of those things were, foundational Black American made. Um, Not only that, uh, let's just look at numbers, right? So if you have a room of people and there's 10 people in the room, and nine of those people are foundational Black Americans, and one may, let's say eight are foundational Black Americans, one's Puerto Rican and one's Jamaican. And that's the room that hip hop was created in.
Mm,
So you tell me who created it. Not only that, if that were the case, then why are all of the rappers, the majority of rappers, why are they Black American or why are they from American soil? How come in Jamaica, the major music that comes out of Jamaica is reggae and reggaeton music? How come the major music that's from Puerto Rico is like the salsa music and with salsa
right.
and type of tempo music? So let's not, and this is not the diss of Puerto Ricans or Jamaicans. I don't subscribe to um, dissing them because they're all a part of our family. We're all family and we all need to be connected as one instead of you know, infighting. Um, I feel like those narratives were bought and paid for by the industry, by the people that have toxic and tainted the industry. I feel like Fat Joe and Busta Rhymes have both sold out to those music industry people, so but they're bought and paid for statements to say. Um, I will say this too. Look at the time when hip hop was created. What was we going through in America during the late '60s? What was
Mhm.
the atmosphere? And tell me who's doing all this freedom fighting? Is it Puerto
Well,
Ricans and Jamaicans, or is it Black Americans? That's freedom fighting for rights and for laws to be changed in this country that we are the ones that blood, sweat, and toiled on this land. So hip hop was born out of the civil rights era. Hip hop was born out of several things, out of frustration of teenagers not having an outlet. Black American teenagers not having an outlet, not being able to do other certain things that other kids was allowed to go do, only being confined at being in the park. Music is in we're the original people of music and song, of sound and frequency, rhythm and blues. All of it's Black American. All of the roots, rhythm and blues, jazz, rock and roll, all Black American. Gospel, Black American. We lead it all.
Mm,
And all hip hop is a culmination of all those things that was reinvented, like I said, renewing history, our creative juices from us being oppressed and during the civil rights era and seeing our ancestors go through all the stuff that they went through, seeing Malcolm X get killed, seeing Martin King Martin Luther King Jr. getting killed, coming out of that era, going into them early 70s, them kids was frustrated and they needed an outlet. So they was rhyming and popping and doing all the stuff they was doing. Sure, there was probably, and sure, Cool Herc was there. Sure he's from Jamaica, but when Cool Herc got to America from Jamaica, do you think Cool Herc came here with all of his Jamaican stuff and turned all the Black Americans into Jamaicans? Or did all the
no.
Black Americans turn him into our culture? Did he assimilate with our culture or did we assimilate with his? So we got to get
Facts.
real about things and stop bullshitting around with this kind of stuff. First of all, it's a
Mm,
waste of time. Second of all, they're the ones causing division by always continually trying to take away our contributions to this culture, to this country, to this society. It's what
mm,
they always do. It's to minimize our role in everything. When you have picked on listen, when you have picked on God's chosen people, you have to do everything in your arsenal to continue to pick on them and keep them down. So if that's getting people that look like them to go against them and it cause division with them, then that's what they're going to do. And there's going to be people always right there to take that money to do it because they're not our people. At the end of the day, the
mm,
bloodlines ain't the same. The bloodlines ain't the same. The skin color's the same. All skin folk ain't kinfolk. That's number one, you know. But I say that to say, stop trying to take away what we did. Everybody know, and then the other point to that, like you said, if that's the case, then where's all of the rappers from those specific cultures at?
that's
Where
right.
are all of them? How come the majority of them are Black American or Black? Where are they
Facts.
all at? Where's the big, we did the 50 years of hip hop. I'm not being disrespectful, but it was mostly all Black American acts. I didn't see a lot of different things going on with that. We're the
Facts.
dominators of that. We're the dominators of being able to move crowds with our voice because that's our spirit. It's not just a voice. People got to understand why hip hop came out. It was the initially to spread messages in the street about what was safe
That's
and what wasn't safe. So who else is doing that besides the people who ain't safe?
mm,
I mean, it don't make sense. Like they got to make it make sense. You got to make it make sense. So if it don't make dollars, if it don't make sense, it don't make dollars, right? So you can't tell me that all these other people was 50-50. Okay, then why isn't it still 50-50 then?
facts.
And
But
that's not
why
to take
haven't it?
away no, and that's not to take away nobody's contributions to the culture. We
Right.
love our Latino brothers and all that, and we love our Jamaican brothers and our Caribbean brothers and all that. And then let me speak on this real quick. You know what I'm saying? Listen, stop coming at Black Americans, people. I'm telling y'all this right now. Black Americans are the reason that y'all got rights in this country right now. If it wasn't for the work of what Black Americans have blood, sweat, and tears put forth, y'all wouldn't even be allowed to immigrate to this country.
Facts.
You wouldn't even be allowed to come here, let alone come here and shit on us like the way that some of y'all do. Stop doing that. Secondly, Black Americans have the biggest hearts out of the whole diaspora. We
That's a
got the
fact.
biggest hearts. You know why? Because on this soil, we've been through the hardest toil. We know the enemy up close and personal. We know what the enemy did to you on your land because we studied it. Because we are the ones that are trying to get out of it because we're the ones that are most affected by it. So
Right.
stop trying to shit on us because if it wasn't for us, all of the melanated people would be a lot further back than what we are right now.
Mm.
Y'all come over here or whoever, and you get here, people that look like us. Now I'm talking to y'all. And you come here and you benefit from all of the things that we fought for that they still continue to keep us out of. Let's keep this clear. They can the things that we fought for with to get minority rights, to get grants, loans, and all this kind of stuff that other people can come here and get because they're minorities. See, it's the trick bag with the words again. Because when we did the civil rights bill, it was not supposed to say minority and people of color and minority and all this other crap. Now you're opening the door, just like Dr. Claude Anderson said, to keep us on the bottom again. It's all a trick
Mm.
bag to keep us on the bottom and to keep us out of competition to have anything. We are so superior that they know if we get any type of footing under us, it will be end game for them. We don't need them.
Abs-
We don't need them. We've proven it over centuries. We've been on this planet before they was even thought of. So we don't need them. And it's not to be nasty or mean about it. But when our people have been through all of these years of this fight and this war that we've been through, and in this year, in 2024, we got two candidates that neither one of them give a damn about Black America. They have both basically said they're going to do shit for us. And we just still sitting here talking about P. Diddy instead of
mm. Mm.
organizing like P. Diddy said, and using our political power to gain position in the 11 areas of activity in this world so we can be a viable member of the world global society. We're a laughing
Mm.
stock of the globe, Black Americans right now. We're a laughing stock of the globe. And it's
Mm.
embarrassing. And we should have more by now. But guess what? Just like you said, when somebody's down, we want to kick them and punch them instead of trying to help the brother and pull him up and say, brother, what can we do to get this off the ground, to get you back on your feet? Let's go build a school. Let's go build a hospital. Let's go build a mini clinic. So the brothers that don't got insurance because they can't get work can come get checked out.
Mm.
Let's build this. Let's put our money together and buy this building to get this corner store so we can provide groceries and keep that money in the community. Now, granted, a lot of us got trick bagged out of that through them enterprise zones through the 70s and all that. We got trick bagged out of that, and they let the immigrants come in, the Indians and the Chinese and everybody else, and they came here and got those loans and grants that we made possible through the legislation that got passed through our fight.
Mm.
We get locked out of it, and as soon as they know all these people in positions of power, it's like an unkept secret that's untold, but they all know it. When they see a name, they know it's Black American, or they see the region where we live, because they know when you see your name come up for a loan, you think these people ain't got this technology to know who you are.
Mm.
You know a foreign name or from a not naturalized citizen from a Black American citizen. So you tell me if I go apply for a loan and then Habib comes and applies for the same loan, who you think's getting that loan?
That's right. Habib.
Habib's going to get it, and I'm not going to get nothing. And I've experienced that. I have experienced that firsthand with trying to purchase a home.
Mm. Mm. Mm.
So I had money to get it. So it ain't no game out here. People think that we be complaining and that we be begging for something. I mean, what the hell? We're not begging for it. You owe it to us. We done built the whole damn country up. We done went through everything we went through, and we still going through it. And you still don't want to give us nothing, not even a bone, not even a here you go. It's to keep the foot on the neck because they can't give it to us because they know if we do the right thing, if we all wake up and we start doing the right thing, it's over for them. All it takes is for us to decide to do it together. It just
Mm,
takes for us to
mm.
decide to do it. We got to change our mindset. We're too worried about the wrong things. We prioritize the wrong things in this community, and I see it every day. And I
Mm.
get it. I'm
And
embarrassed by. I'm embarrassed by it. I'm embarrassed by it. We should be doing better than that.
absolutely,
We owe it to our ancestors to do better than that.
absolutely,
Would our ancestors look
absolutely,
at us today and be proud of us?
not at all.
So we can say no to that, then we ain't doing our job out here. And that's why BTV exists.
And also, you brought up the Kamala, the presidential, um, you know, we got one more month. Either Kamala Diva Harris is going to be in office or Donald Trump, and we know that neither one of them are for the best interests of us. And I want you to speak briefly about, we got Kamala Diva Harris. She's been exposed. She told people she was black. Come to find out, she is Irish and East Indian. And then we also have a presidential candidate that's running for office that's never made mention, and that's Cornel West. Now he's running to be president also, but you never hear anything about him. You only hear the lesser of two evils, and this is Kamala Harris and Donald Trump. Give us a brief synopsis as we wind down and close out. Um, what is your intake with this whole situation with Donald Trump and Kamala Harris?
I think it's a shit show.
Right.
Um,
Right.
I think it's a circus and it's a joke. Um, and then, this whole thing, and I mean, listen, you got to let people kind of die on their own iniquity sometimes. Um,
Facts.
and I seen something, if Black Americans think that Kamala Harris is going to get in office and do all these amazing things for Black people after she's literally said out her mouth that she wasn't going to do nothing only just for Black people. Um, Listen, if y'all want another whipping, then take it. I don't know what to tell our community no more. Like they seem to love the punishment. They love being ignored. They love uplifting people and helping other people get to, levels of power and get to where they need to be. Just for them to get there and forget about you and act like you don't even exist. So
Mm,
I don't know. Like it don't really matter to me because either way, like first of all, our community's still struggling either way.
that's right.
So
That's
listen, I didn't hear neither one of them say nothing specific about us. Obviously, we do know that there are other nations in the country. Other nations in the country, aren't subjugated the way we are.
mhm.
And if you can do an anti-hate crime bill for Asian Americans, then you can certainly do one for Black Americans who have been getting lynched in this country for the last 250 years.
Somebody
So
just got lynched 2 weeks ago. Somebody just
yeah, I
got lynched
saw
2 weeks
that. And
ago.
they just legally lynched that brother Marcellus Williams,
Oh,
I think
yeah.
his last name is, over in Missouri. So I mean they do all this kind of stuff to keep the fear in us though. When you see the police killing us in the street and shooting that brother all that many times, and when they do kind of stuff like that's blood rituals.
That's a fact.
That's their blood. They're renewing their blood ritual to show us that we better stay into a certain frequency. We better not get out of line.
Mm,
That's what it's for. Whether people you can believe it or not, it's what it is. It's to keep the fear in us, but see, it's only going to resonate with some of us because not all of us have that spirit.
mm.
Not all of us have that spirit, and for the ones that don't, like I said, they think that that's going to do something for them. Go ahead. Like I want people to do what they think is the best for them. But what I really
That's
want
right.
them to do is I want them to use their brain first before they do that. I want you to use your brain and think about it first. And then I want you to be logical, not emotional, but logical. I don't want emotions. I don't want, oh, because she's black, or oh, because she's this, or oh, because Biden picked her, or oh, because I heard somebody say They don't even know. They were asking this lady a question. Why are you voting for Kamala? Oh, because she's black. And then they were like, well, what about any of her policies? The lady couldn't even answer the question. She doesn't know not one policy that this lady got. You don't know one policy. Like, if this is the way that we're operating in 2024, then maybe we don't deserve to be in the position where we think we're supposed to be, because you have to want it and you have to choose things for yourself when you want to be better. I mean, at this rate, I don't know if the community don't want to be better or if they just been downtrodden and beaten down so hard that they don't feel that it's a way for them to be better. So they just are comfortable in their you know, mediocrity, or they're less prioritizing the right things that we should be doing to uplift ourselves. You know what I'm saying? Either way, it's a choice, and all we can do is try to enlighten people, and let them know, like, use your logic. Like, look back, like, what have the Democrats done over 30 years that we voted them in office? And then
Mm,
if you look at that the Black Caucus, it's terrible. It's a whole list of them. Some of them been on that board for over 30 years, 40 years, 50 years, same ones. Ain't not one change in the damn community. Community's worse off than it was in the 60s. We owned more property in 1960 than we do in 2024. We
mm.
were more married in 1960 than we are in 2024. We had two parent households back then. You know, we know what they did to interrupt that in the 70s with the welfare state stuff. So it's like every century they do something else to create genocide in our nation, whether it's through, you know, whatever area of activity that they're choosing to do it for that decade. Um, you know, and then they use interchangeable things throughout the decade to add on to it and keep their foot on our neck worse and worse as we go along. And it's just not getting any better. And the more that we don't stand up for ourselves and create some type of political power, or some type of power base economically or politically, we're going to continue to be at the bottom and in the last place, like Dr. Claude Anderson said. So just put your
Wow.
seatbelts on and be ready to be in last place, heading into into these new futuristic dates that we're about to head into. Like, this is the future. Like 2030, we're going to have smart cities. So what, we still just gonna be over in the ghetto while everybody else is in a smart city? We're gonna be, you know,
Mm.
forgot about, left about, food not getting brought to our areas. People gotta think about what
Mm.
the future is gonna hold for them. If you don't care about your future and your kids' future, then you don't. Just say that then and keep on rocking out, you know. But for us that care, you know, we're trying to make a difference. So any little thing that I can do to make a difference, whether that's a podcast, a cultural reflections, you know, illuminating the positive reflections of that people in the culture are doing and bringing them on the show and letting other people see, hey, if this person can do it, so can you. And we're all here to help you. We are anyway at BTV. I help people on my channel. Anybody, and you know that anybody that ever comes on my channel, you're a part of my family and you've been on my channel and you real people and all that. You don't leave. You keep coming back. Moray Shai was just on the channel the other night. Me and him might be doing a little show on Tuesday night. So we're just trying to, you know, edify for the people and educate them, elevate their mindset.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm
Absolutely.
saying? Elevate it. And then, you know, my message to the diaspora is, yo, everybody in the diaspora anyway is trying to mimic Black American culture. So how is
That's a
hip hop culture is not our culture? Like, y'all's all mimicking everything we do. So how was it anybody else that made it up? It don't make sense. Stop lying. Just stop it
right.
and give us our props and give us our credit, and then we can all move on. We don't do that to y'all. We don't do that to nobody in the diaspora. We don't take no credit away from nothing y'all have ever done. We don't do that. We love y'all. We don't do that. We wanted y'all to come here to partner with us to go against them, but y'all came here and partnered with them against us. Imagine
Mm.
that.
That's a
Imagine that.
fact.
So, you know, like, just knock it off and stop creating this narrative that we're this or we're that, or some narrative about whatever you saying about us. We have been through the most out of this thing. We've gotten the rawest end of the deal here. Us, the foundational Black Americans. We got the rawest end of the deal here. We're the only ones that never got, that didn't get to keep our language. We didn't get to keep a lot of our cultures. We had to remake our culture, and we did it. And people emulate it throughout the whole world. And then you're going to shit on
That's
us and say it ain't ours. Knock it off. Knock it off.
uh,
Stop trying to oppress us more than what we already are. You're supposed to be helping to uplift us. And so we can all uplift each other and create together because we're all creative people, all of us in the diaspora. We're supposed to be creating together, not dumping on the one that's lower. You acting
that's
like you're oppressors, and it's not cute.
well, y'all heard it live and direct. Like I was going to say to you, Teller B, do you have any last words? I mean, that was it right there. You know what I'm saying? You know, we give all honor and praise to Yahweh, the supreme, intelligent, powerful one of our forefathers, Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. We have live in the building Queen B, Teller B, founder of BTV. We thank you very much, Queen, for coming out today. It was definitely an honor and a privilege. And I have to say it because we say that to all our guests. Do you have any last words?
Yes, I do actually have some last words, and if you don't mind, I'm just going to share the screen to say them, and then it'll be very quick. I promise you, I won't take up too much of this time. Um, can this be added to the screen? What I just put into the chat? I mean, into the
Um,
background. Oh, the sister got to do it.
yeah. If she could
Okay, hold
hear
on.
us, maybe she could do it real fast. If you hear us, because she's watching, because she's going, she has to close it out. If you
Okay,
hear
well,
us,
you know what?
DJ,
It's yeah, it's okay. I will just say it. So I don't want to interrupt whatever she's got going on in the background. So what I do want to
we're
say, family, is
doing something right now. So I'm be an active host right now. It's crazy. I've known you for so many years, and I'm nervous.
why? This is just like us regular talking on the phone.
No, baby, my expectation of always wanting to interview you. You know what I mean? And I finally got a chance to interview the Queen B, Teller B. So go ahead with your closing remarks. What you got for us?
So I want to say to the family, like it's this is the time is now, guys. The time is now. We're going into a non-universal year next year. That means transformations. That means ending of a cycle. That means your dreams fulfilled, your dreams come true. So I need you guys to really start believing in yourself. Start manifesting the reality that you want because you definitely have that power to do so. It's time to stop accepting the subpar narrative about yourself. Step into the role that you were born to be. That's kings and queens. Around here we say kings and queens up. We say royalty rules. And the rules for today are to respect, uplift, love, elevate, and support your brothers and sisters. Okay. That is the royalty rules of the day. I want you guys to, follow me at Teller B Media. You can just search that on YouTube and Instagram. You can follow me at Numeralytics by Two if you're into astronumerology. If you would like your personal universal code, or a personal consultation, please reach out to me on one of my platforms and I'll be happy to connect that with you. I also want to let you guys know that we can definitely change our condition around in this country, but it's going to take us to culturally ascend. And I have created cultural ascension practices for the family. I'm working on the ebook. Soon as the ebook is ready to come out, I'm going to be back on here to promote it to you guys and make sure the family has a copy of it. And I'm just going to list the steps that we need to do if we want to culturally ascend. It's called the 7D cultural ascension process. It's the 7D cap. You got to put your 7D cap on if you want to elevate them chakras to the higher state. The way you do that, because right now we're in a dormant state. So we got to go from dormancy to dedicate ourselves. We got to dedicate ourselves to this cause. We got to dedicate ourselves to each other. And if that means delineate as Black Americans, then I'm all for us doing that. Sometimes you have to separate in order to clean yourself up so you can rejoin the family. Okay. We got a lot of cleaning up to do in Black America's backyard. We ain't got time for diaspora wars. We ain't got time to be arguing about who started hip hop. We ain't got time to be worrying about all this dumb crap because right now the war is on us and we are the only ones capable of fighting this war and winning it. And we got to be the leaders. And when we lead it, the whole diaspora will follow us like they do in hip hop. So now that we have delineated and dedicated our time to committing to our fellow Black Americans, we have to start discussions like we do on these podcasts, start discussing the current events, start discussing the conditions that our community is in, so we can start making change using our discernment to know who's on our side and who ain't on our side. You got to know who you can trust and who you can't trust. All skin folk ain't kinfolk. So use your discernment, that critical thinking skills that Yahweh blessed us all with. Use that brain or lose that brain. Discern who's your friend and who's not. Exile them from your cipher. You don't need no haters in your cipher pulling you down.
That's
Once
right.
you've used your discernment, now you got to document all this stuff that you've discussed and found out from delineating. Document it now. This is writing our books. This is renewing our history. This is writing new history like Mighty Hebrew does. Like Moray Yeshai, they write books of history to show you the way. We got to document this stuff. Now we can start developing things, developing schools, developing hospitals, developing markets, gas stations, all the things that we need to do to go around. Electric companies, hell, water companies. We can establish our own, keep our dollar in our community like they do in other communities. We didn't develop and now we can deploy. Now we got a now we've developed, now we got a military that we can formulate and we can deploy
Mm.
and deploy this across all the states and all the towns and all the Black towns, all the ghettos, all the communities. 7D CAP, 7D cultural ascension process. That's what the 7Ds are. When the ebook comes out, we're going to make sure we get it out to y'all because this is the way forward, man. We got to do it. We got to get together and we got to start using our brain to develop things, document things, and teach our kids the history that we know is correct and make sure that they know the right things moving forward so they can have a good future and create a better world for themselves and for their children. And that's really all I got to say. I want to say peace and love to the Mighty Hebrew. Thank you for inviting me on this platform and allowing me to speak and speak my truth and let people get to know Teller B a little bit more. Connect with me if you want to be on the show, Cultural Reflections podcast. We're in season right now, and I'm happy to have any guest on that's in the audience. If you got something going on, come on over on the BTV and we'll get it promoted for you. You know what I mean? Peace, love, and
No,
harmony to the universe, to all the family.
absolutely. And matter of fact, I will get in contact with you to schedule to schedule DJ Genesis to come on your show. She's a Ifa priestess, and I think it'll be a very interesting conversation and interview that you'll have with her. I'm just filling in for her. This is her show. Again, I want to give all honor and praise to Yahweh, the set apart one of Israel. I thank you, Queen B, Teller B, for coming on the show. It definitely was an honor and a privilege. Wings up forever, kings and queens up. It is an honor. And to all the listening audience, thank you for coming on the show. If you haven't subscribed to the show, subscribe right away. And with that, I say to DJ Genesis, take us out.
Alchemize your energy. Darling, let your spirit be free. Don't give up. Keep on pushing through. Now is the time. It's all up to you. Alchemize your energy, my friend. Let Let your spirit be free. Don't give up, keep on pushing through. Now is the time, it's all up to you. No matter the storm, but over tragedy. No matter the storm, but over tragedy. No matter the storm, we will always take flight. Keep on pushing through the darkness of night. There's no limit, let's reach for the sky. Shine so bright, from darkness to light.